Hi all, this video is part 2 of our Kentucky trip. So if you missed part 1, I will make sure to link that below. But before we jump into the video, here's a quick introduction just in case you're new around here. Hi there, we're Matt and Stacy. We recently bought an off-grid property in beautiful West Virginia. We've been busy making this property our own little slice of paradise, adding in a few modern conveniences, having fun learning all of the construction trades, and converting a pole barn into our future home. This channel is about my passion for painting with a torch and wax, and about our passion for adventure and taking risks. Consider subscribing and join this creative community. And don't forget, hit that thumbs up button if you're enjoying the video. Hi all, and welcome to our bourbon tour. So we're gonna do kind of a voiceover here in a way. We went to Kentucky. So
somebody say bourbon. Bourbon. Cheers.
Cheers. Next stop was Bardstown, and I can't read your writing very well here, and the Distilleries in Bardstown, and then White Acres Campground. So Distilleries in Bardstown that we went to in no particular order was Preservation, Heaven Hill, and Willett. And again, if you've been here for a little while, you know we did Willett this time around a little bit earlier last year. But this was a tour that Sam really wanted to take, and we did not mind doing it again because we thought it was really good the first time around, and it was quite nice the second time around. So,
what do they serve there?
Bourbon.
Oh, bourbon.
Anyways, did you have a thought behind any of those tours?
Tasty.
Tasty.
Fiery.
Also, I should add, Heaven Hill had really, really, really nice pimento cheese appetizer.
Pimento balls.
They were so good.
Balled up pimento cheese, deep fried. Oh my gosh.
They were outstanding.
Yeah.
So,
Good little stop for lunch, actually.
And there's not a whole lot of places in and around that area that are open on, that was what, a Tuesday, I believe? I think it was a Tuesday.
No, it was Monday.
Oh, it was Monday. You're right. Yeah, not a whole lot of places open on a Monday in that area. So plan in advance, and Heaven Hill was actually one of the places that was open on a Monday. And Preservation, we should go back to that. Preservation was a really unique tasting. It was, it was an expensive, they had expensive bourbons, but it was a unique tasting. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, the tasting was only $25.
Yeah.
We didn't buy any bourbon because, they were $100 to $300 bottles, and
slightly
I hate to say it,
our price
no bourbons
range.
are that good. I think I don't know. At least I haven't met them yet. Maybe I'm too frugal, but yeah, it was the best presentation and explanation of a tasting. Like that was kind of neat.
Yeah, they kind of walked you through how you should taste bourbon, which was really interesting.
What'd you say?
So. Sorry, so we touched on Preservation, Heaven Hill, Willett. Again, we did the tour at Willett, so that was really fun. We got to see all the bubbling of the mash and the making of the bourbon, and of course they have the big still there at Willett, so that was cool to see. And like I said, we had done that before, but it was still fun to experience again.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
You've got them. You've got them all.
All right, let me pan down here.
The campground host was super nice.
Oh, yes.
First place we've been into, we actually had electric at this campsite, and it was the first place they only had a 50 amp hookup, and we don't carry an adapter that drops it down from 50 amps to 30 amps. So if you're familiar with camping, obviously the amperage going into your camper is important. So he had extras. He lent us out, all this other stuff. His parents and stuff lived on the property, and he just kind of took care of the grounds and stuff. So it was just a nice little family campground. It was kind of neat.
Yeah, if you're in the Bardstown area, maybe they're experiencing the Bourbon tour and you have a camper, they were super nice in there. It was a quiet campground. I wouldn't say, like we always say, it's not our typical campground that we would stay at, because we like to kind of stay more, a little bit more remote, a little bit more quiet. But the campground there was very, very quiet. And he was just, yeah, super nice campground host and owner. So,
A little expensive. I think, isn't that where Sam said the facilities were really nice?
yes, actually, yes.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't expecting, but like we don't, having our own camper, we don't normally use the facilities. But yeah, she said the campground facilities were very, very nice. So
Yeah, so good little stop.
yeah. All right. So on Tuesday, we left White Acres and we went to Whiskey Thief. And I should also mention that all of these distilleries were very, very nice to us, very kind, and allowed us to take our campers with us into their parking lots. So that was very nice of them. I called ahead, of course, to make sure it was okay, but you just never know, and they were all perfectly fine with it.
Yeah, most of them have lots big enough to manage.
Right,
I mean, they
plenty
got
big
tour
enough.
buses coming in most of these places anyway. So,
And I should also mention, too, it was a great time of year to go. It was the week after Derby week that we went. So we missed kind of all of the festivities and the crowds, which to us was a good thing. If you know us, So it was nice and quiet in most of these distilleries. We practically had the place to ourselves in a lot of these, which was really nice. Which also, I don't know if they just always do this, but you just felt like we got a little extra attention or whatever. So it was nice.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big ones are probably always going to be busy. We'll talk about it later, but we went to Buffalo Trace and then Heaven Hill. Those are two huge distributors and bourbon makers, I guess. They were busier both days, but the rest of them, literally empty. And yeah, you get a little extra tasting. Can I try that one again? Sure, no problem. You want to pull it right out of the bottle or the barrel yourself? Sure. And a lot of times you're talking directly to the owner or the master distiller or whatever, and they're just talking about it because they love it anyway. So definitely cool in that regards.
It's kind of like, I think I always relate to them like as being an encaustic artist. Like, I love talking all things encaustic, and you can tell these people were just passionate about all things bourbon and what they do. It's a craft, it's an artistry, and yeah. So, anyways, getting back to the week. All right, so we left White Acres and went to Whiskey Thief. And that place was really cool. It had a beautiful outside area and just, extremely laid back. And we actually stayed there long enough, funny enough, where they came out and they're like, hey, do you want to take a tour? The tour was perfectly free, super laid back, a really cool atmosphere.
And that was one you sampled directly out of the barrel. Mm-hmm. Their tour, that was a $35 tour, a little bit more.
$35 tasting.
$35 tasting. But it was 5 different whiskeys or bourbons directly out of the barrel. And you actually use, the long thing you pull the stuff out is actually called a Whiskey Thief, which we learned there. I didn't know that prior.
Hence the name.
And you pull it right out of the barrel and give yourself your tastings, and then you can fill your own bottle and such as well. But really cool place. Mm-hmm. And they're Star Wars fans. I got a Whiskey Thief shirt with a Darth Vader logo on it. Just saying.
That's true. All right, so from there we went to Glens Creek, which is actually was recommended to Sam from a moonshine place around here that Matt and I love.
Devils do.
Yeah, and Sam just happened to go there 2 weeks, I think, prior to us going on the trip, and was talking to the guys there about, our trip and this and that, and they recommended going to Glens Creek, which, again, super cool experience. I don't think we got anything there, did we?
You must have had a lot of bourbon at that point.
No, I did.
Yes,
yes, we did.
The owner signed the bottles that we bought, but oddly enough, we bought what they called Kentelia. So it was a Kentucky version of tequila. Tequila. How do you say it? But anyway, it was actually really good, so we decided to get that one instead. They had some really smoky bourbons that were kind of crazy. It was one of the more unique places as far as tastings.
Yes.
For the bourbons being different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Highly recommend Glens Creek if you're in the area and have the time to swing by. Just because they have, like Matt said, really unique flavors. I shouldn't even say flavors. Really unique tastes. With their bourbon.
Can I give the side story of the starter dough?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so this place, it's the Old Crow. So if any of you are out there familiar with Old Crow from years and years ago, that place had shut down. Jim Beam bought half of it, but there was a part of the place that is now Glens Creek that they actually took the old yeast, and I don't know how many years it was, and like rejuvenated the yeast, started feeding it again, and that's where they're making their sour mash. And if you're familiar with bourbon, there's sour mash is when you have like a starter yeast and you keep using it. You put a portion of the yeast from the prior batch into the new mash,
like sourdough,
just like sourdough bread, where you have a starter dough or a starter. It's very similar process there. So that was kind of neat. Like they were literally able to like recoup yeast that was just in the tanks and whatever.
And we learned all about that process while we were there. Like we didn't get a tour of the process, but they were very, again, like we were the only 3 people in the place. Yeah. So like they totally took our time, explained everything. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah. 3 people and an owner, and then the person that was pouring the whiskey for us. But yeah, the owner was funny too, because like if you look at the back of their bottles, and I don't know if this is on all of them, but they're totally made up stories. He's like, yeah, if you read the back, there's nothing true in there at all. They're just making up stuff as they go along. So I would imagine a fun place to work where you're just drinking bourbon, tasting whiskey, and making up stories. So pretty fun place. So.
Oh, and then we must have checked in to Elkhorn Campground. It's happening. Raining on our parade. Had some brats on the grill and actually had another campfire after the rain. I think we might have seen the rainbow then. I don't remember now.
I don't know what night it was, but we did have some really cool double rainbow, super bright too. We have pictures I'm sure you'll put in here, but
yeah.
Yep, that was awesome.
So yeah, Elkhorn Campground was, I think Sam called it like suburbia campers or something like that. It was, again, we talked to the owner there, super nice guy, actually came around several different nights just to say hi, check on us, see how we were doing. But it's definitely a big rig campground, but really nice campground.
And getting rigger because they were pouring concrete pads. Like they had not destroyed, but what did he say? They removed, I can't remember how many they removed, but
43 sites to make 19 or something like that.
Something like that.
It was crazy.
Like they were getting rid of smaller sites and just making huge concrete pads for the big rigs to come into.
Which is good.
Nice sites, though, because they're right along the river and all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, it definitely a nice little campground, or bigger campground. But they had all the amenities, the pools and whatever you need.
Which we didn't use any of because we were way too busy. But, okay.
We should say the reason we booked that place is because the state park that we were supposed to camp at all week canceled on us like 2 weeks before we left. Yeah. So we actually had to scramble to get sites, and that's why we actually stayed at several different places along the way.
They were super nice about it.
Yep, it worked out great. Yep.
Very accommodating. All right. I think we're on Wednesday, which was the Louisville day. So that was fun. I should mention I went to a yarn store in Louisville, and I'll try to remember to insert here a picture of the yarn. Really nice local shop. She didn't have a whole lot of hand-dyed local yarn in stock anymore. Actually, she had just sold a lot of it, but really cool little area. I think it was part of Louisville, but just a super cute couple block street. And you and Sam had no interest in yarns.
A little bit of trendiness.
Yeah.
So, Sam and I went to a record store down the block. Actually, 2 different record stores that were down the block from there. So,
yeah, so it's a cool little stop. All right, but then back to...
What?
The bourbon tour.
Oh, cheers.
I feel like you're going to be done before I am with your beverage there.
Well, you'll have to share yours with me then.
Okay.
First one there was Buzzards Roost.
Roosters
Roost.
Buzzards
Roost.
Actually, this one was kind of fun because, again, we talked to, I think it was the owner, right? And we learned a lot about...
Actually, no, he was the master distiller. The owners
okay. The master distiller.
Were that other couple.
That's right.
They weren't there, but...
Yeah, he was the master distiller, and it was really interesting because we learned a lot about the science behind it and how they take the temperature. And I think I have a little bit of a video of some of the thermometers and stuff they use. So that was kind of fun. Like at each stop along the way, I feel like we learned more and more and more about bourbon and how they make bourbon and the process of it. And, every single distillery has something, I think, unique about it. But, this one was fun for that.
Yeah, well, and to expand upon that, like, the learning curve was cool. This place in particular had a little mini still in the back. And this is the first one we learned where, not every place obviously makes their own mash and all this stuff. They just buy it from some of the bigger places. So they're getting the same mash bills, and the differences in how they're aging it, how they're putting it in the barrels, how long they're keeping it in the barrels, where they're storing it, all that kind of stuff. That's where it's getting its flavor and color. And then this one, like, they're able to experiment with a little bit different on the small still, so they're able to not waste a lot by playing around, essentially, and applying the science to it and everything else. But so that was kind of neat. And again, we got to sample 2 right out of the barrel that they had there. Didn't buy anything from them again because I hate to say it, they were just another one of those super expensive ones. And I'm not trying to sound cheap in all of this, but I
think also like
excuse me,
we don't have like a super maybe developed palate for bourbon. Like we are not bourbon experts by any stretch of the imagination. So maybe if we were, you could taste a little bit of that difference. So take this for what it's worth.
And the smells too. Like you can smell differences.
Yes.
But when you taste them, like a lot of the bourbon, I just felt we got the same drinking experience versus the smell and everything else.
All right. Getting back on track here.
Louisville Day still.
Yep.
Copper and Kings.
Copper and Kings. So Copper and Kings was on our list because of the process, I guess. We had read about it online, and all 3 of us said, all right, we got to go check this out. Because if we met Sam when we moved down here, but we've gotten closer to Sam through vinyl records and having vinyl nights, and all 3 of us are, well, probably you and Sam are more into music than I am into music. But so Copper and Kings actually has, do you remember how many subwoofers?
No, but
They play music.
lots of subwoofers in the basement of a building in the middle of Louisville, in the middle of, what was it, Butchertown? Which also stinks because they're literally butchering right next door. So
crazy.
Yeah, that was a little gross, but
yeah. But the tour was really cool. And again, we were the only 3 people on the tour.
Yeah, and the purpose of the subwoofers, to go back to like the reasoning, is like they literally blast the music in where the barrels are stored. And by blast, I mean it's thumping. Like you go in there and they like turn it down for part of the tour, but then they of course turn it back up. And the purpose is to keep the liquid moving within the barrels, because most distilleries and rick houses and stuff, they're just dependent on weather changes to expand and contract and move the liquid, or the mash, not the mash, the distilled product. But here, like, they're trying to thump the barrels, and you can put your hand on them and you feel the barrels bouncing and vibrating and everything else. So, you know, technically they say they can age it a little faster and they can get better flavors and all this kind of stuff. And I can somewhat believe it, because you are moving the liquid across that wood grain more often than other places. So I could see that you could age it faster, but I don't know. The idea behind it was kind of neat.
It's fun.
And most importantly, he put on a Weird Al Yankovic polka track at my request, and it gave some really good thuds and thumps. So I think those are going to be the best batches yet. So we'll see. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was a cool place. So they have a person that is in charge that actually does research behind the music, and they pick the music based on the artist's birthdays, right? Do I have that right?
I have no idea.
Do you remember that?
I missed that part.
All right. If that's incorrect, I'll insert something in here. But they actually have like a person that picks the music out. They're in charge of the music for the day, and they have like a set playlist, which I'm pretty sure I got a picture of the set playlist, but I think it's because of when the artist's birthday falls. So I'll double check that information. All right. So then, that was Thursday. We stopped off at a diner, which, if you know Matt and I, we don't normally eat inside, but we thought we would take a chance and go to this diner. It was named Tammy, and I'm not going to get into the logistics of everything, but we picked the diner because of the name, and we actually met...
Not the name, the person.
The person, yes.
Her cousin, Tammy.
Yes.
Tammy, this one's for you.
And we actually met Tammy, the owner. She actually served us our food. A really cool lady, and really fun diner. And again, it was quite empty. Like, we were really surprised by it, because I said, if it's too crowded, we won't, go for it. But it was very empty. We got a booth way in the back all to ourselves, and it was a really cool diner. So, and good food. All right.
Okay, we're back. Take 2.
Starting back over. So after Tammy's, we went to Jeptha Creed. My camera stopped recording. Apparently, we were chit-chatting too long. So Jeptha Creed. Thoughts?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't remember the bourbons. I remember the tasting, but I don't remember anything too out of the ballpark.
Outstanding.
I don't think we got anything there either.
Yeah, I don't remember a whole lot about it, strangely enough.
Oh, free tasting. So, free tasting, if you guys want the free tastings. I believe that one was free, actually. Cool place, but nothing unique. It seemed like just kind of recently built, and they were probably trying to get up and off the ground more so than anything else. I don't know.
All right.
They're all worth doing, though.
Yes, I would agree.
I know that didn't sound exciting, but
I would agree with
free
that.
tasting makes anything worth it.
All right. Oh, and we went to the sculpture park.
Oh, yeah. We actually did something non what?
Bourbon tasting.
Oh, it's bourbon tasting.
Yes. So I had found a sculpture park in Frankfort area that I thought, if we might need a break from all of the bourbon extravaganza. And it was actually quite nice that day. So we went to Josephine Sculpture Park, and it was pretty cool. Like, it was a free park.
Yeah, free little park, nice trails to walk around.
Yeah, just kind of...
Some of the sculptures were pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a good place to not waste, I shouldn't say it like that. It's a good place to spend an hour and a half. You could probably even spend 2 hours there if you really wanted to get into all of the...
Yeah, stop and stare and ponder and think, philosophize over what the sculpture's mind was thinking at the time.
Right.
Kind of like art.
Yes. But it was fun. I thought it was worthwhile. I think...
100%.
Yeah. So it was cool. All right. So then Josephine...
Take a video for the both of us. We're turning around. It's super crazy. The wasp looked at me. You're like, nope.
Hello, friends. We're all friends here.
Room.
We've got an opening, and we've got holes, and a skylight.
Satellite?
Hello, a skylight. And that's what we got. Have a good day, wasps. Good day, wasps.
And then Buffalo Trace. Buffalo Trace, I think Matt said earlier, was massive. And this, unfortunately, was one of the places that got flooded out about 2 weeks before we went, something like that. And we did have a tour booked, and luckily enough, we were still able to do the tour. But it was... we didn't get to see as many things on the tour as what you normally would be able to see on the tour. But it was still, I think, worthwhile going on the tour.
I would go back to that one to do the tour once they get back up and running. They're not making whiskey right now. They were still cleaning up a lot of the buildings. You can probably find pictures of the flooding online to insert here, I would imagine. If you guys weren't aware, like, it was pretty national news where Buffalo Trace is the oldest distillery, I think, in the nation, or at least Kentucky.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's probably in the nation. But yes, definitely a huge place. Really cool, but yeah, we really didn't get the tour, I think, that they normally do. Because nothing was operating. Like, you'd walk in and they were pressure washing. They're not producing anything right now. They are bottling. So actually, I think I got good footage from the bottling.
Yeah.
You didn't go in that section, but they were bottling Blanton's, which was kind of neat because that's the round bottle with the horses on top. So that was kind of neat. Yeah. We can show them a real bottle because I did get one the next day. Because what we also learned from Buffalo Trace is check their website, because they don't offer everything every day. And I think this is all the time. I don't think this is related to flooding.
Correct.
So you have to check their website to even see what they're selling that day. And they have limited quantities every day. We showed up the first day and...
Weller.
Oh, yeah. Weller was the special or something.
And was it EH?
Oh, one of the other
something?
original distillers or something. Yeah,
Can't
there was
remember.
two things on special.
EH Taylor?
I'm not 100% sure. I'd be impressed if that's it, though. Yeah, so anyway, check the schedule, especially if you're looking for something in particular. They always have Buffalo Trace. They always have I can't remember what the Res Sagnac or something was, or something like that. They always have a few on stock. Traveler is always on stock, which is the Chris Stapleton bourbon or Tennessee whiskey, which I don't know if it's actually Tennessee whiskey or Kentucky whiskey. I don't know. But
Buffalo
in either case,
Trace is like a big brand, so they encompass a lot of different
like Heaven Hill.
brands. Yeah.
Heaven Hill has their own brand, and then they have Elijah Craig and Evan Williams and lots of others, Larceny and lots of others too. So yeah, some of the bigger distilleries, they produce a lot of different bourbons and a lot of different labels, basically.
But it's cool to see like the difference between the big guys and the small guys, or the big distilleries and the smaller distilleries,
yeah,
right?
100%,
Like,
yeah.
it's worth doing if you get a chance to, and you're into bourbon, or even if you're not into bourbon and you're just wanting to see, how things are made or how bourbon is made. It's cool to see the different productions and the different sides of both.
Yeah, definitely. Buffalo Trace had free tastings as well. And those change based on what they're selling that day, which is cool because you have an opportunity to go up and taste it before you go to the store and buy any of it. So, yeah, that was cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Brown Barrel.
Brown Barrel. 3 dinners. Sam had what was called a hot brown, which is a Kentucky thing I never heard of before. What was it? Like ham, potatoes, turkey, gravy
and
tomatoes on bread even, I think.
I don't know if we have all that correct, but I will try to put a picture of it, a description of it.
Elegant picture of hot brown.
In here somewhere, because I don't know that we have that correct.
Yeah, we didn't taste it either. So.
No. She said it was quite good, though.
Yeah. Even better was the chicken and waffles. The chicken was okay. The waffles was the best waffle I've ever had in my life. Sam even tried some and vouched for it. So 2 for 2 on the waffles. Stacy didn't try it.
No.
But she had shrimp and grits that were pretty good too. The grits were really good. Mm-hmm. Shrimp was just okay on that one too. But in either case, the dinners were really cool. And it was in a really cool little downtown area. Mm-hmm. What is this? Frankfort, right? Yeah, Frankfort, Kentucky. Really cool town. And we saw more of it later, but this particular strip of it was kind of neat too.
All right. You and Sam had to go back to Buffalo Trace to get the Blantons.
Right. We had our first tour scheduled for like 12 or 12:30. Buffalo Trace happened to open at 9 o'clock, and we checked the website, and they had Blantons available, and a vodka, I think, or something like that. So we had to go back to Buffalo Trace first, get another free tasting, and then, I got a bottle of Blantons, and I think I got it for the uniqueness and maybe a souvenir because of the top has like the horses. Blantons is the brand that they print horses in a racing gallop across the different bottles, and then they also spell out Blantons, and if you put them in order, it's like the horses racing or jumping or something like that. So,
all right. So from there, we went to Woodford's. And we had Woodford's on the list because Woodford's, prior to this trip, has been one of my favorite bourbons. And the local liquor store here has and sells special bottles of Woodford with West Virginia imprinted on them that they purchase from Woodford. So it was on my, list of places that I really wanted to see. So, yeah, it was really cool, I thought.
Yeah.
Again, a huge, massive facility. Matter of fact, we had to get on a bus to take the tour because it's such a massive,
Well,
not massive distillery.
Actually,
but
yeah, I was going to say, I wouldn't say it's a massive distillery. It's a massive property.
Yes.
Where you check in is different from the gift shop, is different from the distillery and that kind of stuff. And there's a horse farm involved and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So beautiful property. But yeah, it was like you check into this really nice place and there's a little bar. You can get a drink if you want to while you wait. But yeah, then they take you on a bus over to the distillery for the tour. But yeah, the distillery itself is it's really cool old buildings, but not huge. And probably actually I don't know if this is a category later, but is by far the prettiest facility, if that's an option or a category.
Sure.
Like even the setup of their stills, like they have 6 copper stills in this beautiful old barn. And we have picture. You can put the picture out there. It's just so set up perfectly. Like it's
the mash was in
the lighting. Everything is done.
The mash was in the wooden barrels instead of like
steel.
Yeah. So even that was really pretty and unique.
Yeah, actually, and the mash by far smelled the best of the mash. For whatever reason, it just smelled so much better than everyone else. And they all smell really good, like the mash. So do the rick houses. The rick houses smell incredible because it's evaporating bourbon and you're evaporating that smell in the rick houses. So that's fantastic. But yeah, Woodford was just all of it. The setup, the way it looked, the lighting on their stills, everything about it, the buildings, fantastic. Like I want to say it was just prestige, but it just looked and seemed better than all the others.
It definitely had a prestigious class about it, I think.
Yeah. But
really
one of my favorite tours because it was so nice. The tasting was super nice too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It was definitely good.
All right. So from there, from Woodford, we went to Castle and Key, which was just okay, strangely enough. It's a cool atmosphere.
It'd be interesting to see how it goes.
And we didn't take a tour.
We didn't do the tour. The property is amazing, as you can imagine. There's literally a castle there.
Yeah.
So I think the tour could have been cool. I don't even know. I think we just decided we were toured out. Like, I don't know. I mean, it probably would be cool buildings. If we go back, I'd probably try it again, and I'd like to see if their bourbons have improved. I think what is happening there is they're newer. Somebody's like restoring the facility. So I don't even think that they're making their own bourbons yet or anything like that. I think they're doing their own blends they're borrowing blends and reselling somebody else's stuff. We did a little sample or a flight of 3. We didn't do a tasting with anybody, but just got a flight. But again, the property is fantastic. I think they're onto something. I think they're probably just going to be, once they start getting their own bourbons, they probably will have a good product. But I think they're kind of in that early stage where whiskey was just okay, but the property was fantastic. And I would go back and do a tour next time.
Then we went to Wild Turkey.
Oh, bonus one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had some time on the way back, so we went to Wild Turkey, which I kind of wanted to do anyway because it's like the first bourbon that you and I drank. Mm-hmm. Wild Turkey's American Honey used to be our kind of go-to, and we keep joking now that we drink like regular bourbon. We probably won't drink honey bourbon. We'll probably never buy another bottle again, but that was kind of our go-to nightcap kind of thing. So it was always kind of neat. And then Jimmy Russell, from Russell's Reserve, the owner, master distiller or whatever, I think he was 90-some years old. Mm-hmm. He was actually there just talking to people. Like he was just in the hallway passing people by, or when people pass by, he'd just have a conversation from them. He'd sign a bottle.
None of us bought a bottle, but he would have, if we would have bought a bottle, he would have signed our bottle. So that would have been cool. But I don't think any of us were.
Yeah, there we just did you and I, we split a sample, I think. Sam got a different sample. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, yeah, we just kind of chilled out. They had a really nice patio area, overlook of some bridges and a gorge, and like it was really pretty property to hang out on. Looked all brand new, so I don't know if this is their original place or not, but it was definitely kind of brand new and looked really nice. So I don't know if they're changing things, so next time you're there it'll be different too, but really cool setup. Yeah, so we just kind of sipped on some bourbon there and enjoyed the views and kind of wrapped it up. And the bridges and the gorges kind of reminded us of West Virginia. I stood next to somebody at the fence looking at the bridge, and they were from Baltimore, and they said something about it reminded them of West Virginia. And I said, yep, definitely, just not as big. And it was kind of a nice ending just to kind of be reminded that it's almost time to go home. So, yeah, it was good. Good little ending for the bourbon.
All right, all. I thought it was about time to introduce you to Sam, because you've probably seen her throughout this video this entire week. So I'm gonna hand the camera to Sam and she can introduce who she is. Quick, I don't know, like 2-sentence introduction, like who you are.
Hi, I'm Sam. I live in West Virginia with Stacy. Is that a secret?
No.
Okay. I live in West Virginia, the same town as Stacy. And yeah, we've been having vinyl record nights, and we started talking about going on the Bourbon Trail. And so then it happened. Like, we actually planned it. And I have my own web design business. It's called Design It Please.
She's really good, all you creatives.
Ta-da!
I'll put her info down below.
And yeah, I think I've had enough bourbon now for at least a week. I'm gonna take a break.
How would you just describe yourself in like 5 words?
Creative, curious, adventurous, empathetic, and conscientious.
Perfect. There's Sam, y'all.
Bye.
Pack up, hit the road. We listened to an awesome audiobook on the way.
yeah.
I don't know if you talked about that before. But,
No?
it was just a book called Horse. You can probably tell the author
Yeah.
and all that stuff, but Stacy picked it specifically because we were going to Kentucky and Lexington and all that area. But yeah, it was about a horse eventually named Lexington, and slavery times and freedom times, and all that emancipation and all that kind of stuff. So
It went back and forth between,
yeah,
I can't remember the years, until like present time too. So it was kind of, it was pretty cool.
yeah, it was like stages of the horse's life, the owner's life, the black owner's life at that time, and then it was like the historians of today researching the horse itself, and they found that somebody had kept the skeleton of the horse, so they were doing all that. It was a good, I don't know, it was just a good story actually,
Yeah.
especially for that trip. It was a good read, or good listen, I guess. So yeah.
All right. So to recap the whole trip, favorite distillery and why in a blip, a tiny amount of time. Say it.
Well, overall favorite distillery, Woodford.
I wasn't think you were going to guess that.
I mean, as a distillery, because
Okay.
it was a distillery. Favorite experience, Whiskey Thief, by far. I mean, that's not even close. Because again, Whiskey Thief was the Adirondack chairs around a huge campfire, sip right out of the barrel. We bought a barrel.
Not a barrel.
Not a barrel. I wish we bought a barrel. I wish we were given a barrel. I don't want to buy a barrel. Bought a bottle and poured it right out of the barrel ourselves. And I know you have pictures and video on that. That was the first. It was a 95% rye whiskey, which I normally don't like the rye whiskeys. But after this trip, for some reason, I might be more of a rye whiskey fan, which is kind of crazy because normally I like corn because they're sweeter. But the rye, I don't know. And this one in particular, I can't wait to open the bottle and taste it just to see. Like, was it the experience or was it the whiskey? I don't know. But really cool. Just the experience and everything that's itself about that particular place. And there was Star Wars fans, so that's easy for me. You haven't answered yours, though. You got catch up now.
I think Whiskey Thief for me too. It was just super laid back, and I like the small atmosphere and just beautiful patio.
Okay, well,
All right, we're wrapping
we're on
this
our
up.
third video now, and we're going to start wrapping up because I guess bourbon is just that important to us that we got to talk about it for a long time.
Apparently. So if you're still with us, thank you.
You must be a bourbon fan too, so cheers. So yes, we've enjoyed the bourbon trip. I would do it again because I think there's other ones there's plenty of other ones to visit.
Many. We barely scratched the surface.
And I would do a combination of the big and small as well. Like
Yes.
you get unique experiences from each one. I don't know that I would need to revisit any too often.
Maybe Whiskey Thief again, just because it was our favorite.
Well, no, I mean of the bigger distillers.
Oh,
Like,
sure.
yeah, Whiskey Thief I would go to just because it's a cool place to hang out. But yeah, and I'd go back to Buffalo Trace when they're operational because we did miss out on that, I think. But yeah, awesome experiences.
Yeah.
Love the trip.
All right, we're wrapping
Highly
it up.
recommended.
Yeah, thanks for
Thanks for
watching. If
watching.
you made it this far, thank you so much. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. You know it. Consider subscribing. We've got more summer trips planned. And more summer trips planned with Sam. So at some point in time in this video, hopefully I've introduced you to her. And yeah, you'll be seeing hopefully more of her and more of us this summer. Probably along more in West Virginia, but who knows where.
If you've done the bourbon trip and you have other recommendations, let us know in the comments too, because we will definitely be going back. And maybe if you have a trip planned, hook us up. You know,
Yeah.
reach out. We'll meet you there. It was fun.
Anyway, y'all.
Thanks all.
Thanks for coming along. See you on the next one.
Cheers.
Bye for now.